Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're so glad to see so many of finance, economics, and business enthusiasts here. The host for this session was supposed to be Diyarbek Zakirov, but he had some urgent matters to deal with, so I will be covering for him. Before we start, a little bit about myself. My name is Safina. I study at Westminster International University in Tashkent, and I'm studying finance. Our guest today is someone truly accomplished with over 16 years of experience in international investment banking and finance. He has worked at some of the world's leading institutions and studied at one of top of the universities in Japan. So I guess he joined. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Saidakhror Burkhanov. We are really excited to hear your story today, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you again. Thank you very much for inviting me. It is a pleasure to be speaker in such a community. And I believe I was also trying to have such kind of career experience with people to talk while I was a student. So it was great that I can return back what I learned, what I did. And of course, I can answer any questions which will allow you. Again, thank you very much. Wa alaikum assalam.
Of course, thank you so much too. So if you're ready, we can just start with the session. It's been such a pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I apologize for the change of hosts so suddenly before the interview.
No worries, it was good.
Okay, so to start off, you can just tell us about yourself, so we can let you know about your background and shortly about which places you worked, so that we can get deeper into your workplaces later on as well. But just an overview about yourself for the one.
Sure. So yes, again, my name is Saidakhror Burkhanov. I was born in Tashkent, and mainly I was in a finance banking sphere, and I did different internships. And luckily, I got the ADB scholarship to study in Japan in Nagoya University. Then after graduation, I tried to continue my experience in banking. So I joined the French second largest investment bank, Société Générale, which is called SocGen. And then after Nomura, and recently for almost 10 years in JP Morgan. So last year I came back to Uzbekistan due to my family reasons. So now I am working at the Azerbaijan Uzbekistan Investment Company, which is kind of private equity. So I'm there as the risk manager, senior risk officer, you can say.
All right. So there might be some students, there are a lot of students, and also maybe foundation level students who are, trying to find their path. So if you could, tell us about how, you chose finance exactly, or were there any other options for you to choose from? Why exactly finance did you choose?
Yeah, that's a good question. Basically, while I was studying in the school, in the high school, so basically you need to choose which university to go, which basically defines what kind of career you will be at my time. Now I think it's a bit different, but at that time, if you choose finance, then you become financist. If you choose engineering, you become engineer. So it was kind of your future decision to start with. So my parents asked me which university you want to go. So at that time, I was a bit confused. What I knew that I'm good in math, I'm good in physics. I'm not good in the kind of language like English. English was okay, but my own language like Uzbek and this literature and other things and history, I was not good in memorizing the things. I was more like a logical person. So at that time, somebody, I don't remember, they gave me the book, The Financier, the Theodore Dreiser, which was very popular at that time. So I have read that, and then I understood, okay, that's my path. So it gave me why. And then at that one, when I was a child, I was playing a lot with my friends a Monopoly game, as you know. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
you're buying different properties and getting some dividends from that. So you're managing the cash flow. So you're understanding scarcity of the financial resources, and so it taught me how to manage your cash flow, your dividends. Then I understood this is mine, because in Monopoly I was almost always winning, and I was really excited about this game. Then I decided, okay, that should be the at least economics or finance. And then the best university which was teaching the finance, it was Tashkent Financial Institute. So that's why I decided to go there. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
luckily I got the government scholarship, which is what you can call grant. So I studied over there the banking credit, and 4 years in bachelor's degree. And then I decided also to continue master's degree in the same university. So I did my master's degree in the same Tashkent Finance Institute. So I graduated in 2002 the bachelor, and 2004 master's degree.
Uh-huh. So life was basically throwing you hints, and you recognized them and chose your path then, right? But there are students listening here. Maybe they are wondering still what to do with their lives, with their careers. So now that you're more into the finance field and you know what to do, how to do it, and you're more, um, and you know more about it now. So what do you think? How can those students that are wondering right now, how can they know if finance is the right path for them?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's why you need to know while you're like young, you need to know your strengths. It should be kind of your talent, God-given kind of skills that you can feel it. The feeling is coming like when you're doing, you really liking it. You really exposed to it, and you never tired of doing that, even on the nights and the mornings. Every time you think about that, you even having a dream. So that's kind of self-analysis that every person needs to do, because if you go there which you're average or you don't like it, definitely you will not succeed, and you cannot do the proper career over there. That's why I strongly recommend every person needs to do the self-analysis, like SWOT analysis. What's your strengths? What's your weakness? What kind of opportunities you can see by looking at your skills and the time was given, and the threats, right? Like opportunity, or the competition, and everything. As I said, that I like the book, The Financier, the Theodore Dreiser, and I liked the game of Monopoly. And I always liked the math, so I was good in the numbers. That's why it kind of naturally kind of gave me this chance to see, okay, I'm kind of finance person, and that's why I need to go to that path. But I saw a lot of my friends who are not actually good in finance, not good in numbers, and that's why they didn't end up with that kind of career. Of course, it was good to study. They had a networking, but again, they didn't use this in their current work, because they didn't like so much. They were average, and at the end, even they went to the banking career, they left very soon. So, and they started something different, which they were very good at, and now they are succeeding in the different area. That's why if you don't want to waste your time, of course, you never guarantee that you always will be right, but I recommend to do some self-analysis. What you are up to, what you're really liking, what you love to discuss, to talk, to do, to dream about. So from that, you should decide where you want to go. Unless you have your own analysis, it will be very difficult to say, yes, finance is good for you. You have to feel it. So that's why I recommend to do some self-analysis first.
Uh-huh. So basically finding your analyzing your strengths and weaknesses and finding your passion in life. And I've also read this one quote that said, the goal in life is to be excited to go to work and to excited to go home. Do you think you found that in your, daily life right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Being
So
excited?
you shouldn't be tired of doing what you do, because by doing this you're earning money. Earning money shouldn't be like for you as a tough job. Of course, in the beginning it's tough, but then you should be enjoying it, because you cannot last long if you don't like what you do. Because money will not be only motivated for you for the long, like 20 years career, 30 years career before you're retiring. That's why you have to choose what to invest your future life. Because if you're not passionate and you don't have a talent, whatever you will be doing investing, it will be waste somehow, because you will not be strengthening your strengths. The main point to understand what's your strengths and focus on it. Don't improve your weakness, because if you improve your weakness, you will be average at most, maximum what. But nowadays, average people are not accepted by the society, by the companies. They want outperformance, people who really like it and really good at it. And you can only be good at it if you really have a skills and talents, and you focus on improvement. You get the knowledge, you get the experience, and you become the best what you do. And only this way you can succeed in any area. But if you become average and you kind of pushing yourself to do that, I'm telling you, it's not very fun, first of all, and you will be tired very soon, and you will be quitting also quickly from that job. So that's why, yes, as you said, self-analysis is mostly main step in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we should all add the Financier book to our reading list as well. This book really got me interested right now. And next, I want to ask about your studies in Japan. I'm really excited about this too because I'm planning to, like most of the students here, to study abroad. So my question here is that why did you decide to study in Japan and specifically the Nagoya University?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, at the time, maybe you remember there was a UMIT Foundation, which is founded by government, and they were sending to the mostly to the
Uh-huh.
Western countries like Europe and US. So at that time, I was also trying to apply, but my English wasn't good at that time, and so I decided to improve my English. And then I saw a lot of people who were going to US, to Europe, and they're coming back basically from UK and US. So when I saw them, okay, they're very good in English. They're becoming Americanized or English. I'm not telling that that's not good, but for me, it was like, okay, what else did they learn? And what kind of things I can get, like outcompete, and what should I do? So then I saw people who are coming back from other countries like German, France, and Japan. I saw on top of English, they have another culture, not only language, but they're different. They have something class from people who were in US, in UK, or in any English speaking countries. Of course, they're very good. For example, US is number one in finance or tech, UK the same way, right? But of course, it's a good to be number one if you go into the number one university. But if you cannot, I saw that okay, I need to do something else. Then I decided to pursue some different countries, not English speaking, but English plus some other languages. So, and then I decided to go either to Germany or to Japan. Why Japan? I decided because in my university, in Tashkent Finance Institute, there were two JICA volunteers, Kato-san and Muto-san, who were teaching us about the after World War II Japan economy. It's kind of history, how they recovered, what they did, the philosophy. I really liked that. So I saw it's so similar to Uzbekistan. After independence, we are almost the same from zero. We are recovering our economy. We are working on the poverty. We are trying to build the infrastructure, the institutions. So it was very good and interesting to learn about the Japanese economy and its history. And it was amazing because after World War II, within the 15, 20 years, they almost fixed all their economic issues and they became the net exporters. And they were started even giving a lot of financial aid to those developing countries. Then I started, okay, I think this is a sign. And two of my teachers were my referees. So they were helping to choose the university to see how I can get there. And then I came up with the Asian Development Bank Scholarship, ADB scholarship. I think it's still working, and mostly it was financed by Japanese government. That's why there were a lot of Japanese universities listed up. So I actually tried a few of them, but I couldn't get the grant, the scholarship. And then Nagoya, why Nagoya? Because one, it was economics, which I had only 2 or 3 universities which were offering that, because I was in finance, so I needed something similar to that. And as you know, the scholarship, basically they're giving to public policies. They're not giving to the finance or MBA related fields, because there are already a lot of people who are applying. They're actually trying to help to those public fields and attracting more students in that area. That's why they're giving the scholarship over there. So I saw that. So then I said, okay, there is one professor who was in the World Bank and he was studying finance and he was very close to finance and economics. I said, okay, I will choose this professor and I will kind of write my research proposal and all the application related things to that university. Yeah, so luckily I got the full scholarship in 2007. Then I decided to go there to study 2 years. And it was a great choice when I see and look back. Yeah, Japan gave me so much. As I said, other than English, other than finance, it gave me so much I can tell you later, but yes, it was a great opportunity to study there and work in that great country and do a lot of friends over there.
All right. Would you still recommend Nagoya University for the students to study?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But again, Nagoya University offers limited kind of areas that you can study, right? If you're studying the law, for example, they're very strong on that. If you want to do some public policy, like international economics, rural development, or education related, or there were some UN related kind of areas, poverty reduction, and so many other things. So if you're really on these areas, yes, I strongly recommend, because Nagoya University, one of the best universities in Japan, and it's one of the 7 imperial universities, which is kind of public university, and they have a lot of Nobel Prize winners, especially in engineering, biologics, and in that area. So yeah, I really recommend to search, to do some research and find your area if you're really on that area. Yes, I strongly recommend to apply even to the scholarships. They have a still ADB scholarship, which is fully financing you for 2 years, including your air tickets plus stipend, and you get some research materials. So it's a good scholarship as well.
Okay, thank you. If I'm not mistaken, you went to Japan after doing your bachelor's and master's in Uzbekistan, right? But after studying at Tashkent Financial Institute, why did you choose international development for your master's degree? Was there a reason, like something linked to your career?
Yeah, so basically, what's happened after finishing my bachelor's degree, I started my master's degree in Tashkent Finance Institute. But at the same time, I started my career in the banking area, which was Pachtbank. Now it's called Agrobank. So I was there doing the microfinancing department, which was financed by ADB and EBRD loan provisions. So I was helping to give and analyzing this credit portfolio. So and the master's degree, my graduation thesis was research thesis was about the WTO, World Trade Organization. I wanted to learn because even now, as you know, it's a very main topic. But even 20 years ago, Uzbekistan was kind of starting to join that organization to free up all the trading barriers and start kind of trading freely with other countries. As you know, we're double locked countries. Its logistics is very difficult. So that was one of the main area where we can develop our economics very quickly. That's why it was very interesting topic. So I started to study over there, and then I actually continued and added to my proposal, and I wrote to my professor that I want to kind of do this WTO research and study about Uzbekistan's kind of perspectives in joining and what kind of impact it will be. So it was kind of naturally chosen topic, and that's why it was international development, where international development was dividing, as I said, international economics, international education, international rural development. So there were so many other departments inside this university. So I chose that professor. He was Otsuba Sensei, which he was leading that economics department. And that's why I chose that. And as I said, I needed a scholarship because I needed some money to study. But if you want to get the scholarship, you cannot go to finance or MBA. That's why I needed to choose something which is closer to my previous experience and knowledge and what I already did the research. So that's why everything came to that international development slash economics department, which I chose to study in Nagoya University.
Uh-huh. Okay, so your first job was as a loan specialist at this bank now we call Agrobank. So we got students, even young professionals here that are starting in the local banks like you, and maybe as an intern or as a job. How can they maximize their I'm sorry. How can they make the most out of their jobs or internships if these students want to also let's say work at local banks like Agrobank?
Yeah, I mean, that's a kind of first step to start your career. So I don't know how the local banks now they're offering internships or no, but if yes, I definitely recommend to start with that. Why? Because when you're doing internship, it is kind of commitment only for a few months. You don't need to continue till you're and do your career, but it's kind of the testing period for yourself also to see how is the bank, how is the team, what they do, and what's their strengths. You really like them, or do they like you? So this kind of good opportunity to test the water, as I said. So basically, it's a good way to start your career via internship and to see whether you like it. If you don't like this organization, then you can go and apply to another bank or another. You can choose another team. Maybe within the bank, there are such teams that's better. They good in communication. They're good with new grads. They're good to teach you. So some teams are not so good at that. So even within the bank or within the company, you can choose the different teams. That's why, I strongly recommend to do the internship and see the way how the company works, how the team works, and then decide your career path. But if you really opt to, then go with them.
So they can really see for themselves if this job is for them, if this field is for them or not. So we're talking about master's degree right now, and you studied bachelor's, master's, and then went to Japan and studied some more for a long while. So do you suggest pursuing MBA or just, studying more to become successful in finance industry, or just, the bachelor's degree is enough for some fields of the industry or not?
Yeah, of course. I mean, any studies, any degrees, it's always great, and they should be. And MBA one of them. So I see MBA as a tool. I did the MBA. It was intensive MBA. As you know, in the Uzbekistan Center, UGC, they have a professional management program, PMP. So I graduated PMP 8. So just before going to Nagoya University in 2006 and the beginning 2007, I graduated PMP 8. So it was an intensive MBA course, first in Uzbekistan. So it was good to learn exactly more about the management, finance, HR, have to do the business planning and do the market research, understand the finance from the point of view of the opening the business or from the investor's point of view. So you're going very deep on that, and you're doing a lot of case studies. So about the culture, about the team, about the different crises or problems, challenges that company faces, and you can kind of need to understand and give your proposals, have to overcome those. So it was great, and I really also like it. And yeah, if you have a time, and of course MBA is not free, usually they cost. So if you have money, you have time, and you're really in that area, like they're very good in finance now, they're becoming good in the tech, AI based, right? So if you're related on that, you definitely need to go. But one thing which I want to really point it, you need to go to MBA only after having some experience. Don't go just after the bachelor's degree, because MBA is more about have to improve your current working environment, have to find out the solutions for your current challenges in the work. So I did the MBA while I was in the US8 program. It was EDP, Enterprise Development Program, and we were helping the to CIS countries people to pass the accounting exams. So I was coordinating that program, and with me, I was managing 6 people and 20 people who were evaluating those works that people were kind of passing the exam, and we needed to see whether they passed or not. It's a kind of ACCA or CPA exam, but in the Russian speaking language people. So it was for CIS people. And that USA program was teaching, they had a program, and they, of course, having exams. If you pass, you're getting some certifications. And that certification were accepted by Minister of Finance or any other companies, understanding you have some finance knowledge and accounting knowledge. So I was working over there. So together with the Pakhta Bank, Agrobank plus USA program, I was almost working 5 years. So I had the experience. And then I went to MBA. And that's why when you go to MBA, you need to understand what exactly is challenging you. Because MBA is not just the master's degree in finance or other areas. It's more about the practice. It's a business oriented studies that you should come with your questions and try to find out before you graduating it. And those questions should be business related or company challenging questions that you already experienced, and you're getting your answers from there. That's why I recommend if you want to do MBA, do only after having at least 2 years of experience. And that will be beneficial, and it will not be waste of money or time, because some people just go in just after undergrad, and they don't understand what they learn, because it's mostly about the practices, cases, real cases, challenges of the company. But if you have never worked over there, it will be very difficult to grasp the knowledge from there.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you talked about MBAs. So my question for you right now is that for students short on money, like you mentioned, or for someone who is not planning to do MBA, how else can they gain those skills that you said, through doing practices and analysis and reports? Like now that internet and electronic books and everything is really developed, is there any way around it without doing MBA, or is it just not?
Yeah, I don't think that all the companies are requiring MBA. MBA is a plus, as I said, but the normal grad or undergrad is enough. The main thing is during that time, what you did extra. Did you do some internship, or you did some kind of volunteer works or team works? You did some extra certification that you can get online, for example, coding, for example. Now it's very becoming almost required skills. You need to know, at least you should be tech savvy. At my time, the main requirement was Excel and VBA. So it's kind of coding. That's why while I was studying, I was taking the courses to understand how to work on Excel, how to do the pivot tables and the analysis, the formulas. So that's how you can show yourself during the interview. And that's how the companies, banks, or other finance institutions can hire you. You don't need to do the MBA right away. And basically, some of the companies, they offer you free MBA if you kind of pass at least 2 years of the experience in their company. And after finishing, you have to work like a few more years to pay them up. That's why MBA will come later. First of all, you need to have the basic skills, like basic knowledge about the finance or accounting. If you go into Big Four, you need to understand how the market works. If you go into investment banking, and again, the main thing will be soft skills. How do you communicate? Are you the team person? How you overcome the challenges or any issues? How do you work under the pressure? So those kind of things will be more important, soft skills. And the hard skills will be plus. If you know the Excel, for example, if you've completed some courses or got some certifications, that's very great. But it's not important. Important thing, are you the good person as a soft skills wise? And then hard skills will come later if you're eager to learn and improve yourself. So that's how we usually were hiring in JP Morgan too. I was hiring, I was managing almost 15 people. So more than half of them I hired. So I always looking first in the soft skills and then the hard skills. And then those certifications, MBAs, and blah, blah, blah. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, having hard skills is just a must these days, right? So everyone knows it, everyone has it. It's the soft skills that these managers and recruiters are looking for. Can they do communication clearly, negotiation, and all of that? So your education journey was really valuable. I was taking notes the whole time. We can, I guess, move on to the to your work experience more deeply. So you worked as a financial controller at SGCIB after graduating from Nagoya University. And the interesting thing here is that how hard was it to get your first job, especially right after the 2008 financial crisis when everyone was losing their jobs?
Yeah, that's a great question. Everyone still asking. And in the CV, I always trying to focus the people when I started my work in the finance, especially investment banking. And when they see 2008, 2009, they're like, wow, how? Yeah, let me tell you one thing. again, as I said, while I was in Nagoya University, I was trying to do as much as possible the internships. So during my first year in 2008, yeah, the winter holidays, I did my internship in the United Nations in Geneva, in Europe, in the Switzerland. So I went there while I was studying in Nagoya University. I went there for 2 months. So I did the United Nations Research Institute for Development. So they were doing some kind of research on the developing countries' tax policy. So they were hiring some interns from the finance or international development areas, which I was there exactly. And when I sent them CV and applied, they seems liked and they asked me to come. So I went there. I did my internship in UN. It was great, and it was in Geneva, which is the French-speaking part. As you know, in Switzerland there are three different areas, like French-speaking, German-speaking, Italian-speaking. So I was in the more French-speaking area. So I did my internship. I got a lot of networking. I understood how the French people work. So it was great opportunity. But I knew that I want to do my career in Japan and not in United Nations. Sorry to tell that, but their pace was very slow for me. They're very kind of, if you're like over 50 years old, then UN work is good. It's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I'm not telling, I'm not kind of disregarding the people who are working in the UN now in their young age, but for me it was like a very slow pace. People are very kind of political games over there, and you just need to write one report, do some kind of developing areas, and that's it. I didn't like that kind of job. I needed some intense, fast working sphere that I can kind of gain a lot of knowledge and experience for the short time period. So that's why I say, okay, I go back to Japan and I still try to pursue the banking area or the finance area. So after 2 months, I went to continue my study in Nagoya, and I knew that in order to pass any interviews, job interviews, I need to be good in Japanese, or at least like better than average. So they have also levels like in IELTS or TOEFL. They have a GLPT test, so you need to pass, and you can see what's your level over there. So I focused on my Japanese, and I really worked on those finance and banking interviews. And there are a lot of career forums in Japan, UK, and US. They are kind of hiring a lot of new grads from that career forum. So I joined there, and it was 2008. Still, the finance companies, IBs were hiring because it was summer. It was around May, June, I think. And there, if you go to the booth of JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, or any Morgan Stanley, or the big tier one banks, you cannot go there because so many people go in there, too much competition. And before going into the booth, they even ask you, before going to the HR booth, they ask you, do you know Japanese? If you say yes, they talk in Japanese quickly. You need to answer. If you don't pass, you even don't go to that HR booth. So it was very difficult. And then in that area, I saw the SocGen, Societe Generale, which is number 2 French investment banking. It was less competitive because everyone was going to tier 1. So SocGen was tier 2 investment banking, but it was still investment banking. So there I could go to the HR booth. I could kind of do the interview in both English and Japanese. It was broken Japanese, but it was good still enough to pass it. And I could appeal myself that I did the internship in Switzerland, which was good because it was a French-speaking area, and I worked a lot with French people, and that was a trigger and was a good kind of sign for them saying, oh, you are not wasting your time while you're studying. you did already one internship and you're trying to do another internship, then you should be kind of very kind of passionate, very future looking person that you already know what to do, how to do. So that's why they gave me the opportunity to do the internship in SocGen. So I joined in June. So it was 3 months, June, July. Oh no, I joined July then. July, August, September. And as you know, that in September, I think 15th, Lehman Brothers filed the bankruptcy. It's collapsed. Everything started, and SocGen with other investment bankings, they started to firing people. And of course, I was intern. My intern was finishing for 3 months. And when I was talking with my manager, it was Fujita-san, I said, Fujita-san, I know it's a crisis, but I wanted to continue my career. If you can allow me after my graduation, Nagoya University, is it possible? He said, Said, you see that we are not hiring, we are firing people. So there is no way you can get anything. It's not about you, but anyone. So there are like 100 people were fired at the time. I remember so many people in those areas: Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, J.P. Morgan, Barclays, RBS. Everyone was firing, and not only Western, but all the Japanese banking area finance were collapsing. I said, okay, then that's not my fate. I have to go back then to Uzbekistan to graduation. I went back to finish my graduation thesis, which was about the WTO. So, and then I was preparing myself to return to Uzbekistan and apply over there, updating my CV. But in December 2008, Fujita-san, my manager, sent me email saying, "Hey, Said, are you available?" I say, "Yes." "Do you want to work?" I say, "Of course." "Okay, come on Jan. We're having position for you." I was shocked. How? I was kind of crisis actually helped me because there was an expat, French expat. Well, what is expat? Basically, the person who was sent by headquarter, which is in Paris, France, and they're paying everything for them. They're paying the rent, they're paying all the insurances. If they have children, they're sending to international school. So everything is paid by company. So that person is very expensive. And that person's kind of expat contract was ending in 2009, I think in March. And they needed to kind of replace with another expat person. But because of crisis, they decided not to do. So they said, we have to hire some local person. We need to cut costs and we cannot have those expenses now. And they didn't prolong the contract for that person. And they hired one French local person who was the wife of another trader. And for the replacement of that person, they hired me. So I was in the right time, right place. I was just lucky. And I can tell you, so basically for that internship, the applications were 200, I remember, more than 200. So they hired for internship 20 people, and one of them I was. I was there. So, and from that 20 people, only me was hired to the full time. So I was basically just in the right department. I was in the finance accounting department. And at that time, the expat contract was ending. It was right time. I was there. They knew me. They liked me. I liked them. And they said, okay, we're hiring and we can give you the working visa, because without visa, you cannot work in the foreign country. So then, yeah, after graduation, I did some more work before the graduation because I need to take on some task from that person. And from April, I started full time in the SocGen investment banking. That's how my investment banking career started.
So basically, 2008 crisis came fortunate for you. And I was just wondering why there aren't many successful Uzbeks in Japan. Is it a language barrier? Because we know that Japanese is really hard to comprehend and learn. But then you said you passed the interview with some level of knowledge of Japanese, and then you joined the you got a job internship, and it was in French, I guess, one of the French uh, countries. So did they not require Japanese? Like, how was the work environment back there? And yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, for your first question, I don't think there are few people. There are a lot of great professionals in Japan. We have even like a gathering, and there are a lot of finance related people or any other big Japanese companies, named companies. They're working over there. They're doing great careers. But in percentage, maybe how many people? Around 10,000, maybe. Yes, I agree. In percentage wise, there are a few, maybe. The main reason I think, yes, it's a language barrier. As I said, even just knowing English is not enough. Of course, there are few works over there like IT related or recruitment related, or like some Western companies which they don't need Japanese language, like in finance or accounting. As long as you know the numbers, you just can work over there. But those works are very limited, and you need to compete with many other foreigners who only know the English. That's why if you want to do a good career and you want to get the good position, yeah, it's very, very required the Japanese language. Yeah, as I said, how it worked for me, because with my broken Japanese at that time, so they're like levels. N1, it's the best, so you're kind of almost native. N2 is the business level. I was at the time having N3. It's kind of better than daily conversation, but it's less than business level, so it's kind of advanced a bit. It wasn't enough to use in the work. You cannot understand if you go to meetings and everything in Japanese. But what is triggered, as I said, is my internship in UN and my experience in the Uzbekistan, in the Pakta Bank, in the US8, and my certification of the those certified accountant practitioner, Russian speaking, but it's the same as a CPA. So my knowledge in finance, in accounting, my experience plus my internship, and some level of Japanese, all in all, is kind of sum up with the good. Maybe I don't know why they chose me, but since it was my experience overweight my knowledge of the Japanese. So even there was native Japanese people who were competing with me, but maybe because of my experience, I kind of overpassed them. That's why I think I never asked them why they chose me over other candidates, but that's I think, like, yeah, maybe that's the answer.
Okay. I want to move back a little bit. Back when you mentioned how you changed your job from Sakjen to Nomura. So there were signs for you, like you thought it wasn't as intensive as you used to, or
Hello,
yeah, I'm sorry. Um,
sorry, can
my
you repeat?
connection was a little. Yes, of course. I wanted to move back a little bit back when you said you changed your job from Sakjen to Nomura, right? So for the people, for the professionals that are maybe stuck in their jobs, how should they or how do they decide, let's say, when it's the right time to move jobs, in your opinion?
In SocGen, I didn't have a chance to choose. I didn't want to go to Nomura, but I was forced. Why? Because as I said, after Lehman crisis, the crisis is still extended. It was lasting long, more than 2-3 years, and every finance companies, banking, they were cutting the costs. So they're cutting the costs by doing what they were doing by outsourcing the tasks to the cheaper places, like in India, Philippines, like in the Central Europe, like Poland, Hungary. all Latin America for the US. So basically for us, the India was the country where most of the tasks were transferring over there, because for one Japanese worker, they can hire 3 Indians. So it was much cheaper. Even they had 2, it was still better. Of course, the knowledge, the skills might be different, but for finance, for accounting, as I said, you don't need the language knowledge much. That's why for my department, they decided to move my tasks and all the department tasks to Bangalore, to India. And of course, they asked me whether I would like to go there. Otherwise, I cannot work in Japan anymore because my department is closing. Then I said, no, I want to stay in Japan because I came here. I still want to continue my career. I want to improve my Japanese, my experience in Japanese company. And at that time, Nomura. So basically, what is Nomura? So Nomura Securities is the number 1 investment bank in Japan. It's a securities company who bought the Lehman after bankruptcy, as you know. It was kind of auctioned to sell their different areas like Asia Pacific, EMEA, it's Europe, and the US. So basically, US part was bought by Barclays, and the EMEA and the Asia Pacific part was bought by Nomura. So you see, it was the big Japanese investment banking company. They bought and they needed to do the transformation because they were working on their own system, and they bought the Lehman. Lehman was US, as you know, it's kind of a top tier 1 IB at that time, and they had their own system. They had their own kind of methodology, have to work. So Nomura needed to do some transformations to kind of smoothly adapt Lehman Brothers system, people, culture, technology, everything, methodology. And they needed some people who can speak both Japanese and English, understand both Western and Japanese culture, and they helped them to do these transformations. So that's why Nomura at that time was hiring very actively in 2010, 11-ish. That's where the good timing, when the SocGen decided to move my task to Bangalore. There was only one opportunity in Nomura, and it was good because they were hiring a lot of people from Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan. So my managers were from Credit Suisse. It's Switzerland, as you know, investment banking. His manager from Goldman Sachs. So it was kind of Nomura, but inside the team were basically great professionals from the Western investment banks. So that's why I like it, and I decided to move to Nomura Securities to continue my career.
Okay, so you've been pointing out some of the adaptations, from the Uzbek culture to Japanese, and I also watched one of your podcasts on YouTube actually, where you mentioned the differences in between the education of Uzbekistan and Japan, and this little story of how you asked too many questions from the lecturer, and he, kept you after class and told you it's rude to ask too many questions from the professor and all of that. And I was wondering, are there differences at work as well between, Uzbek and Japanese culture?
Yeah, I mean, in every way, the culture is different. Even when I went from SocGen to Nomura, I was shocked because, as I said, SocGen is a French company, and they have a French culture. It's totally different from Japanese. I can say as example, for example, French, they don't care about the details. They're like, okay, 80, 90% is okay, then they're fine with that. They're very kind of relaxed. They can come at 10 o'clock, having 2 hours lunch. So the main thing is to do the main points. Like if you do 80, 90% of your work, it's good. They like to talk a lot. They're very kind of different. When I went to Japanese, I was shocked by, so basically in Nomura, the work was starting at 8:40, not even 9. So I remember one day I came to to work at 8:41. And why 8:41? Because when I in the elevator, when there was a woman, I said, okay, you go, because it was packed. And I said, I get the next elevator. And I went there for 1 minute late, and they said, you're late. I said, what? Like 8:41. I left my work around 9 or 10 p.m., which is by contract is 5 p.m. you can go. But starting point 8:40. So I went 8:41, and they put me that Said is late. So you saw in Nomura, we always need to get the tie. So you need to be always with suit and tie. Even you never meet with the clients. In SocGen, it was okay. You come with the jeans. You're like a cool bees kind of mode. Of course, not shirts, but the kind of very relaxed mode. You can get any clothes. But in Nomura, you have to wear the suit, tie, come very on time, participate in the meeting. They're putting everything on the details. Everything should be perfectly done. One small comma mistake or one small grammatical mistake in your email, everything is monitored. So it was very shocking, very fresh on me. But it was a good experience to understand how Japanese people working, what they're focusing on, how they do the things. So Japanese people are very good in preparation. So in order to do the things, they do a lot of preparation. For example, even to do the presentation, they need at least 1 week or like 2 to 3 days. We can do in 30 minutes, just read and start. They cannot do. They have to really understand, check many times, putting on the details, and that's their philosophy. As you know, maybe some of you maybe did some kind of Japanese sports like karate or aikido or anything. You can see that everything is on details. So it's very important. And when I went to JP Morgan, it was totally different again, the culture, because it was in between the France and Japan. They are relaxed, but not that relaxed as French. And they're very goal-oriented Americans, but they're not too much detailed on the things like Japanese. So it was very great experience to see the 3 different cultures. And I came back to Uzbekistan, it's totally different culture. Here, basically, people are not, how can I say, not respecting the time. That's a bit unfortunate. When they say, I come on that time, or I do the things, I do the stuff on that, time is not very important. You can kind of have a lot of reasons to overcome that. And it's good. In Japan, being in 17 years in Japan, I already maybe became Japanese, so it's a bit cultural shock for me when I see the people are not respecting the time. Somehow they're very in a rush. Like I see in the cars and the people, they want everything very quickly, but when the really results should be done and the deadline comes, they're late. And then I cannot understand. It's kind of dilemma, right? You were rushing, but at the end, you're still late. So, it's a kind of difference is what I see. But I mean, Uzbekistan is good in presentation. They're very good in sales, myself. And I understood why, because we were always in the Silk Road area. We were always traders. We were good in selling, buying low, selling expensive, high. We're good in presentation. We're good in the talking. But in action or checking or double confirmation, we're very bad, unfortunately. We always do and then check. We always do. We never prevent the things. We always fix once it's broken. In Japan, the more preventive system. They overthink what might be the break in the future, and they try to fix before doing that. Maybe that's why it's taking a lot of time. But in Uzbekistan, decision making is very quick. Once you think 1, 2, 3 checks done, let's go. and you push money, a lot of time and investment, but then it might be broken, and then you redo and redo and redo, and it's becoming more expensive even to do from the scratch. So that's unfortunate part, but at the same time, they are quicker. Uzbeks are quicker than Japanese. Japanese people are very, I think, slow in the decision making. It takes ages. Sometimes I don't understand them as Uzbek, but they do a lot of checkings, double confirmation, communication, to reporting, and then do the decision. Uzbeks quick in a way, but there might be a lot of issues after that. But that's the culture. I cannot say that's bad or good, but we need to take good things from both sides or other cultures. That's why we go there, we learn, we study abroad, and when we come here, that's how we implement. We see the weaknesses, and that's we offer the good solutions from what we learn. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, of course. And I appreciate your answer and pointing out the differences between the Uzbek and Japanese culture, but it looks like we can still learn a lot from the work habits of these Japanese people and then apply them here in Uzbekistan. And also, you talked about JP Morgan, so my next question is going to be interesting for others as well. So, um, how did you get into JP Morgan, and what kind of advice would you give to others that are trying to get into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as you remember, when I said in the beginning, when I was doing I went to career forum in Japan, and when I was applying for internship, I couldn't go to the JP Morgan booth. As I said at the time, my Japanese wasn't good. There were so many competitors from abroad and the native Japanese speakers who were studying in US or in Europe universities, and they're coming back. So they're very good in English. They, of course, native speakers, Japanese speakers. Of course, they were out competing me. So I didn't have even a chance to go to JP Morgan or any tier one work. But I knew I can go if I do my good job in the tier two or other companies that I can start, which I started from SocGen, and I went to Nomura. And if you're very good at that, then I could apply to JP Morgan, and they were exactly looking for the person for 1 year for that position, and they couldn't find in the market. So it was good. Again, it was the right time, right place. And why right time? Because as I said, Nomura was having challenges to. It was a culture crash. So the two cultures, Western and Japanese, they couldn't work well in Nomura Securities, and the management, the senior management, they were trying to kind of smoothly adapt the Lehman Brothers culture, but they couldn't because, as I said, Japanese culture is very different. They too much detail. The decision making is slow. But American is very quick, and they like efficiency. They like the things to be done quickly. So, and there were a lot of clashes over there, and it didn't work well, and it is impacting the people who are working, including me. So when my manager left Nomura, I decided to leave also because my manager was great. He was my mentor. He was my friend, and he was teaching a lot. And I didn't want to work under someone else, especially if the person is less experienced or less knowledgeable than my previous manager. When my manager left, I said, okay, maybe I should leave too. And I started to look for the opportunities. And at that time, JP Morgan was hiring product controller. As I understood, around the year they were looking for the person because their requirements is very high and very strict. So yeah, it was very difficult interview, but because I had already experience at that time, my Japanese was already good because in Nomura I really improved my Japanese because I was attending in Japanese meetings. I was talking with the traders, talking with my team, everything 100% Japanese. So my Japanese really improved well. Plus the experience after SocGen, after Nomura. So I could answer all those technical questions. So over there in the mid-career, questions different than new grad. From new grad, as I said, is about the soft skills because you don't have experience, you don't have much skills. They don't ask about the experience. But in the mid-career, they ask about the technical stuff, what you did, how you fix, what exactly you're overcoming those challenges. So there are soft skills questions, hard skills questions, a lot of cases, like, as I said, as any MBA, right? So they're giving you case and they're asking you to how you solve it or how you behave in that situation. So you need to answer, you need to prepare for that. But it was good that I was really good at my work, as I said, because I liked the finance. I, it was my strong point, and I was improving myself, always doing a lot of working on myself, trying to do more job, doing overtime, and learning the things, gaining experience, talking with different people. So it's really helped me, and that's why I said, okay, then uh, that maybe will help me, and it really helped me. So I applied to Goldman Sachs, GS, and JP Morgan. On the last interview, I failed GS. I don't know why. Maybe they had a better candidate, but in JP Morgan, I went through till the end, and they offered me the position. And I think I also applied for Barca, Barclays, RBS. So yeah, but I didn't like much. So I liked the GS and JP Morgan. At the end, it ended up with JP Morgan.
Uh-huh. Okay, so what surprised you the most about JP Morgan's culture was the intensity of it, among the other things, compared to your previous roles. But were there any moments where you were like, nah, I miss my old job while you were working at JP Morgan, or is it just as perfect as we imagine it to be?
No, I'll tell you. Yeah, that's why I understood why US is good in finance. They're very efficient. They know what to do. They know how to focus. They balance it between Europe and Japan. If they need, they're very good in details. But if they need, they're very result oriented. So they are very balancing those two things, and they're very efficient, which I liked. And they know how to create the good teams. So around you, they're always strong people, and you always on the competition. You cannot like relax. Of course, you can relax, but not much. You always need to work on yourself because uh, lowest part of the people always were fired. Every year, JP Morgan were firing 5% of all the employers. So if you're on the bottom of the ranking, you always will be fired. So you should at least to be the better than the lowest. You know the African proverb, right? The deer and the antelope, the uh, leopard, or I think it was tiger, another tiger, lion. They always wake up in the morning and they need to run. And the main thing, deer need to run the better than the slowest deer, and the lion should be running better or the faster than those slowest deer. So that's why you always need to run, and you need to run better than the lowest one. And in JP Morgan, there was a rule. So if you're on the bottom, you are always next to be fired. So you work always on yourself. You need to improve yourself. You should be better year to year. You have to show why you're better, how you're doing the improvements. You need to show with your achievements, results, projects, and everything. So it is helping you, and you see that's why I worked around the 10 years. With Nomura only maybe 2 3 years, 3 years, and 2 years in SocGen. But I liked the culture. It was really good for me because I saw that I'm improving myself, I'm developing, I'm better than previous year, and they're always having a chance. So if you're good at this, they're giving more and more. And you can kind of build your career. So they're promoting you. Of course, with the promotion, the money comes after that. You have a better networking, you have a better team. So I was a vice president at the end. So I was covering 3 teams, 2 in Japan, 1 in Singapore, and 1 via, not directly, but indirectly in Mumbai, India. So 4 teams. They were giving me another team, but it was too much for me. But I need to go back to Uzbekistan because of my family reasons. So then I decided to quit on my own. Nobody fired me, thanks God. But yeah, I still like it. I might work over there another maybe 10 years. It was great company. It's tier 1, number 1 banking, as you know. It's a great leadership, Jamie Dimon. The culture is very good. The people are great, and you can learn a lot. So it was really great time and experience I was passing there. Of course, I would like to continue over there, but because of family reason, I needed to choose the Uzbekistan over Japan. Working here over JP Morgan, it was a very difficult decision, but sometimes you need to do such decision because you need to, you know, that what is priority. So your family is more priority, then you have to do these difficult, hard decisions sometimes. Yeah, but it's working well. I'm really happy that I came back. I'm with my family, with my parents. Of course, it's a bit difficult. My kids, I have 3 kids. They were born in Japan, 3 of them. I'm telling them they're made in Japan kids. So they are adapting a bit slowly, of course, because they were studying over there and the public school. Their language is English, Japanese, Russian. They're learning Uzbek, adapting, hopefully. First year was difficult. Second year is now we will see, but hopefully it will be very smooth. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. So, to those of us who are dreaming of working at JP Morgan, we should be ready for high pressure, lots of responsibilities, and right. And now I think we pretty much covered your past experiences, but you are now a CRO of this famous private equity Azerbaijan Uzbekistan investment company, if I'm not wrong. And you mentioned your kids, so it also reminded me of the kindergarten. I guess you are a co-founder of this one, Harmony Talisman, if I'm not wrong. And
Yeah.
my question is that why didn't you pursue that one as a career, like as a startup? Because I've seen you in some platforms and conferences in Uzbekistan, startups, fintech, and other company events as well. Why did you become CRO instead of pursuing that?
Yeah, there are different reasons. First of all, my kindergarten is still working because I have a Japanese partner with whom I study in Nagoya University. So basically, I'm more strategic investor. I'm not in day-to-day operational area. So he's doing. I'm more on the strategical decision making. I'm involved. Uh, I tried to open the kindergarten in Uzbekistan, but I understood it's not mine. As I said, what I'm good at, I'm good in finance. I'm good in this banking. So, because if I open it, I have to 100% involved on this. Because in the beginning, you cannot just pass it to another manager or ask or delegate this. So I need to kind of 100% on there, and I don't know when I can delegate. It might take 2 years, 3 years, who knows? Like, and then I said, no, I don't want this. Of course, I did a good job to open the kindergarten in Japan, but I cannot kind of manage the kids as a kindergarten manager or the staff because it's a different skill set you need. You need to work closely with parents, with the kids, with the staff. I have a different skill, so that's why, as I said, before starting anything, you have to do the self-analysis, understand are you get good at it? Because if you're not good at it, you will be tired and it will be boring for you. And if you board on that, your results will be impacted, and you cannot achieve those goals, whatever you wanted, your KPIs will not work. So I didn't want to waste my time and energy. I need to learn a lot of things on that, on the like licensing, preschool licensing, a lot of, and I had to work with the people with whom I never worked like in this area. That's why I said no. I don't want to do this. I want to still pursue my career in finance or that related area. Startup, yes, I like the startups because it's also related to finance, especially on the venture capital point of view or private equity, which I'm working now on it. I like the starting the business, especially finding the problem, finding the good solution, and really implement that and expand it, scale up. And there, as usually, you need to get the investment as a startup. So the main thing, have to manage your cash flow, have to manage your finances, have to work with investors, have to structure your deal, and those things again is very related to finance. And the next series, when you're getting more investments and you're going toward the IPO, and that's becoming the investment banking scope, yeah, where I worked. So it's very related. So that's why I wanted to see the from a bit bottom, because I always were working with IPO companies, but I wanted to see how I can work with before IPO companies to do the startups. And I did my startup also in Japan while I was in JP Morgan. I was doing super app for the Islamic tourism, because in Japan there are many Southeast countries, people are coming, especially from Indonesia and Malaysia. But Japan is still not English friendly country. It's still difficult to find information in English. Mostly it's Japanese, and plus not many things halal. So for Muslims, it was difficult to find good information and halal restaurants and everything. I wanted to solve this problem, and I decided to do the super app where I can put all the halal restaurants into one place, the halal friendly hotels and all the things. So that's how I decided to do the startup. But it was wrong timing this time. I was unlucky because I opened and got the investor. I did the investor pitch demo day. I got the 100K dollar investment money. It was in 2020. I won in February 2020, and as you know, at that year the COVID started, and in March it was everything stopped. So no tourism, zero tourism to Japan. So my project was kind of failed naturally. But it was good. It was good learning. I did a good experience. I understood how the startup starts, what they think, what is MVP, and all these kind of initial problems. Have to work with investment and everything. And that experience helped me to do the judge last year, a presidential award on the IT Park. So I was a judge for the fintech. So I was helping some startups, with some advisors, how they can scale up, do these things. So yeah, I'm still on that, and my private equity now, I'm in the state-backed Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan state-backed private equity, where we're helping for green fields like startups or brown fields to get the investments. So we buy some of the shares and helping to scale up and develop their business, and then sell our shares to other investors. So that's also the part why I like the kind of venture mindset businesses.
Thank you for your answer and congratulations on your award, presidential award. And I love how all of your previous technical finance roles, kind of piece by piece, led you to your current role as a leader. And my next question is that what is the to to let us more know about the risk management and what is it, how it works. Can you tell us about the importance of risk management in finance, and like what kind of risks should students be aware of if they want to get into that field?
Yeah, sure. So the risk management is one of the main part of the finance. So basically, finance is what? So you invest into the project and to try to get some gains, dividends, and the returns. But every project has its own risks. So you need to understand what kind of risks that project or the investment business it has. So that's where it's starting, because you cannot just blindly invest into any project without analyzing and understanding the potential, but at the same time the threats. So you're doing kind of SWOT analysis, so you know what it can give you. For example, if you invest 100, you get the 10, but if you lose, you might lose more than 10, like if you maybe 50. So at the end, is it the worst decision to invest if you can gain only 10, but if you lose 50 or maybe even 100? So that's where the risk management is coming. So you need to understand, what is this object? So the risk management actually helping you from the beginning. When you're investing, you need to understand, know your client. It's KYC, like with whom you will be dealing with. So this is the first part of the risk management. You understand the company, you understand who are the owners, do they have a good background, whether they had any good businesses before, no issues, no kind of problems they had in the past. And then once it's passed, you work with the project itself, right? Whether this business is the right business, any regulatory risks, any competition risk, any non-economic like operational risk. So you evaluate that business from various risks, and those risks you do the registry of each risk and see whether that potential business is worth to invest. It doesn't mean that if there is a risk, you don't need to invest. You have to, but as long as you understand the risk and you list them all up, and then you evaluate them and see, okay, I really like that business. I understand all the risk and I know what I will lose, because the risk is what you lose, right? It's more what you might not gain in the future. So you know the potential, you know the risk, and then you do the decision. That's why risk management is very important part of any investment. And in the SocGen, I was doing the financial control. So it's a finance risk, right? Whether it has the liquidity, it has a good cash flow, it has a profit, it's a good revenue, it has the things. When I went to Nomura Securities, I was working with the counterparty risk, CVA, DVA is called. So I was talking about what is the counterparty risk, with whom we're working, do they have a good reputation, do they have a good business, there is a rating for them. And then when I went to JP Morgan, I was working on the operational risk. I was working on the market risk. So what will be if the market will change, right? For example, new competitor will come, or new regulation will change. For example, central bank will change their interest rate, and many, many other things like FX rate will change. So there a lot of market, and there is operational risk, right? Whether the business can do this work, do they have a right people? Do they have a right technology? Do they have a methodology? Do they have a IT kind of, even the virus, right? If you're working and somehow virus came and it's collapsed your system, you have a big operational risk. So I was kind of working on that. That's why I'm currently now helping our company to create those methodology, do the key risk indicators, and from that to evaluate each project that we are going to invest from those risk perspectives, and to show to my colleagues what kind of risks they might have, and what we can do, like hedging, have to mitigate, should we avoid, or shouldn't we just don't invest, right? If there is a big risk. So you're just evaluating. So if you are the person who is having good critical thinking, you have a very good logical thinking, you're very good in putting your focus on details, particular stuff. You open-minded, you're communicative, then risk management carry is very good for you. It's not the front office kind of trading, but it's good. You always talk with the front office who is investing, but you're always helping them to evaluate the risk of the investment. And that's what I'm doing now.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you for your answers. So I guess all those people who are, investing without the care in the world, just, getting loans, debts, being in deep debt, but still, investing with should really have some degree of knowledge about risk management and have some financial literacy before they do that, right? So I guess next question is that most of the students really want to start off their careers by first getting certifications, financial certifications like FRM, CFA, ACCA. In your opinion, are these certifications worth it? Like worth the time, worth the money, or if the student, if an intern, let's say, have all the hard skills, soft skills without having those expensive certifications, can they still, do good in their career?
Yeah, of course. I mean, certification is just to show you have some certain level of understanding, but that certification cannot guarantee that you can work and implement that knowledge or theory that you have in mind in the practice. For example, we had so many people who had those certifications, but they were very bad in the work because they were doing the certificate just to pass the exam. If you don't understand the essence of those knowledge and have to implement, it will be just a waste of money and time. That's why don't just study or get the certification just for the sake of the certification or just to have some title, because in the work and in the practice you should implement that and you should know how to do that. And sometimes it's better the person who doesn't have any certification or titles, but they can work because on the way they learn and study, and they particular studying that part, because as you know, the certification, they are teaching you so many areas like CFA, for example, or ACCA, CPA. They're teaching you the taxation, legal part, managerial accounting, financial accounting. For example, if you want to be just the finance or IB, just finance part is okay, or maybe managerial. Taxation and the legal part, it's less kind of fitting to that. So that's why sometimes it's even better just to learn what is the work is requiring you. Um of course, when you're doing interview, for example, you have a likewise candidate, like your competitor, and you're passing all the interviews and you came to the final stage, and that's where everything is the same. But if someone has this certification, then of course that person might have a bigger chance to win and get that position. But it's very rare case when such kind of situation is happening. From the beginning, nobody currently, especially when I was in JP Morgan, nobody is looking at the certification. They look what you did, because your action shows what kind of person, not these certifications, not that theories or whatever you're talking in the interview. If you never did this, then it's a big risk again whether you can do. You know what it is, you know have to do, but you never did this. It's a difficult. Of course, with the new grads, certification is a good way to show yourself that you have a grasp that knowledge, you understand at least. I know you never did this in the practice, in the experience, in the work, but at least you did. But in the mid career, when you're becoming, nobody looks at certification. At least if you go to special, for example, if you go to research area, CFAs is the must. If you go into the big four, yes, ACCA, CPA is the must becoming. But if you're a new grad and you don't have time or money, don't think much about that. Mostly just try to get other part, like your soft skills, do the internship, do the some other finance related tasks on the online, like be good in Excel, for example. Understand how you can use Excel to calculate this. Understand maybe some main part like cash flows if you go into the accounting. But if you go into investment bank, understand like what is stocks, like what is equity, what is the debt, what exactly investment banking is doing. So those kind of things will be more important and more valuable in the interview rather than certification. And don't think that if you don't have certification, you will be out of the competition. No, as I said, if you can show with others part that you did the internship, you have some volunteer works, you have a good soft skills, plus you did some homework at the hard skills, understanding exactly what this department is doing, then you can win. For example, in investment banking, as you know, there are three different offices, like front office, who are the traders or sales, who are facing directly with the clients. There is a middle office who is helping the traders to book those trades and put into the system, helping the settlement with the client paperwork. And there is a back office, which is the finance, those risk, and the accounting. So if you come in with, for example, CFA to the middle office, they don't need that. They need more project management skills. They need more communication skills. They need kind of a different certification, like, there's project management certifications, Six Sigma, for example. But if you go into the research, CFA is needed. If you go into back office, like if you go into risk, then FRM certification is more important than others. If you go in big four, like accounting, of course, they ask ACCA, CPA. So you need to understand exactly where are you going, and depending on that, choose the certification if you really want to get that. But don't get any certification and say, of course, now I can pass it. No, you, as I said, do the proper analysis. Do the proper analysis of yourself, whether you have time, you have money, and where are you going to apply, and that whether that department really need that certification. Try to talk with the people like you're doing, for example, with me, who actually has the experience, and ask that particular department whether they need any certification or how you can pass, because your goal is to pass and get the position, not just the collecting the certifications. Sometimes some new grads, they are confusing with the means with the goal. I'm always telling you, your goal is to pass the interview and get the position, not the certification. If you can get without certification, just don't do it. It's a waste of money and time. Once you get that position, if you have time and money, you can get that certification, which might help you later on. But don't just go blindly to get the certification. Again, talk with the industry people, talk with the company, see what kind of people are there, whether they have the certificate. Maybe they don't have any, and that's meaning they will not ask you the same. So if you see that everyone is CFA or everyone is ACCA, that might be. Then there is a high chance they will ask you the same, because the people want to work with the likewise people. That's why do your homework first, do your research, and then decide whether to get the certification.
Yeah, thank you for your wonderful advice. This was the part that I was most excited about. And I got one last question left, but before I ask it, all the people that are raising their hands, you guys can leave your questions in the comments, and Saidakror can hopefully answer them after this one. So yeah. So our most popular question on the channel here, and that we ask in every interview, if you were 20 years old again, or if you were in your 20s again, what would you do differently? What would you focus on? What would you do?
That's always a great question. Yeah, of course, I did a lot of mistakes. I was doing a lot of waste of time stuff. As I said, I was not doing my self-analysis. So again and again, if I would advise to myself, to my younger self, I'll do the proper self-analysis and find out your strong points. Don't focus on weaknesses. Just forget it. Yes, it's good to know that, okay, I know that that's my weakness. That's it. Don't work on them because each person is unique with your strong points only. Because you should have 2 or 3 very strong points that nobody has in the world, the same thing. But that is a starting point, and you have to improve that. So if you start improving your weaknesses on that and working on that by spending your time, money, energy, all the resources, you will be late because you cannot have same energy, the same much of time or money to work later on your strong points as you wish. That's why from the beginning, again, do a lot of self-analysis. There are a lot of testing. At that time, they were not such. So talk with your parents, talk with friends who know you well, very good, and they can tell you, okay, you're very good at this. Can you think about it? Maybe you're not the finance person. Maybe you at all, you're like different. You may be sportsman or you're like a good artist or you're like good in the IT coding, right? Why do you need the finance? That's why I'm telling before going to finance, understand who you are, what kind of person you are, and what's your strong point. If your strong point is the math, if your strong point finance, numbers, go into details. And again, if you're in the finance, if you're good with the people, then you need to go to front office and the finance. If you're good with the project management, if you're good with meeting the deadline, making the connection, you're good in the IT and everything, then go to middle office. If you're not good with the people, but you're good just with the numbers, and you're meticulous on the details, then go to back office. You see, even the finance are divided in so many areas. Even those areas in the back office, there is a finance, there is a risk, there is a legal area, and so many other departments in each of those offices. That's why you need to decide who you are, what kind of strong points you have, and whether that company will help you to improve yourself. Because in the work, either you need to earn or you need to learn. If none of them, then you need to quit. If you don't like the work, but they're giving you very good money, which is very rare case. If you don't like the work and you're meaning you're not giving good results, none of the company will give you good money. But okay, even though, for example, you just entered and that job for you, but they're paying a lot. Okay, in the beginning you can, but you cannot last long. Again, you will be bored because once you have a good saving, you will quit. So the main thing is you learn and you improve. If that company also helping you to achieve your own goals, how you become better yourself, day on day, month on month, year on year. And that's how you become better and better, and you will never get bored on the work. And that's why you have to choose proper company, proper team, proper career. And that's why I really recommend the young people to do the self-analysis. This is main point. If you don't remember anything else, just remember this. Do the self-analysis, find your strong points, and work on them. Just work and work and work and become better, the best on your area, because you already have a talent, plus you're working on them, and you're not replaceable. Then money will come later. because you're number one and only you can do this job the best. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we can, I guess, read out from the comment section. If you want, you can read it out yourself, pick out the questions that you like, or I can do it for you.
Sorry, where is the questions I can see?
In the channel, under the post that said, "What are your questions?"
Okay, just a minute. Oh, we have 5 questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what would you say to someone who chooses finance because of only money? Can they succeed? No, if you go into finance because of only money, it's not a good decision. It's not good choice to go there. Other than finance, you can do money in IT now, right? In tech, people, AI based, or even like startups. You find a good solution. You do for example, recently Bills, right? The owner Rustam, he just did the startup and now he's a multimillionaire. So don't go and don't choose the area because of money. I'm telling you again, do your self analysis, find out your strong points, and then go from that point of view. Money will come later. Don't work on money from the early ages. Without experience, without knowledge, it's still difficult to get unless you win the lottery or somebody will give you just for free money. But I think choosing the industry or the career because of money is a bad idea. That's my personal point of view. Okay, next question. I would like to know how strongly you would recommend studying masters in Japan. Also, I have heard that Japan is not very open to immigration and that nationalism can be quite strong. How true is this in practice? Finally, what are the realistic chances for an international graduate from Japan to secure an offer at the bulge bracket investment banking without knowing Japanese? So many questions. Yes, I recommend to do the master's degree, but again, in which university, which area you have to choose, because not all the Japanese universities are good. Again, as usually, even US, even the UK or any other Western university. So you need to know where are you going and what you want to get from that. IB investment banking in Japan is very unique. Yes, Japanese is almost required. It's not must, but it is strongly recommended. It's a big asset because many people are Japanese, so you have to understand them, and most of them they will speak in Japanese. So if you don't understand and you only English speaking, it's very difficult. But there are people, I know my colleagues who are only English speaking, but again they were lucky. They were transferred, for example, from India because they needed to replace, they couldn't find, and they brought from India, and that Indian person only know English, and he still know English and only few words in Japanese, but he can work. But from the beginning, if you want to, as a new grad, usually HR people, in order to just reduce the competition, they put the requirement as Japanese. So that's why I strongly recommend to learn Japanese if you go there. It's not because of the IB, but just to ease your life, because without Japanese, living in Japan is very difficult. Because as I said, many things in Japanese, you have to survive. Okay, thank you, Saidakror, for such insightful answer, and Safina for such a great structure. Questions about the Azerbaijan Uzbek Investment Fund. As the company has 500 million USD committed capital, have the company already significant exposure in their portfolio? If it's possible to disclose range of amounts to get the overview of their activeness. Do they have many interesting projects, comps in their pipeline? What made you choose this company over other company, let's say other Uzbek Oman or Uzbek Abu Dhabi funds? Yeah, good questions. For your first question, sorry, you can find in the public information in our website. Yes, all the requirements, what kind of portfolios we are investing, what kind of requirements we have, everything is there. So I will not spend on that, but on the why I chose networking. Again, to come from Japan to Uzbekistan, nobody will be waiting for you and giving you work. I thought, okay, I'm in JP Morgan, so it should be easy. No, it's not. Everywhere needs kind of good networking, especially in Uzbekistan. And I found the Azerbaijan Uzbekistan investment company work through network, through my people whom I knew already in Uzbekistan, whom I knew from Japan, and they had their friends in that area. So they recommended me. That's how I got the first interview. And I didn't choose, I was just referred to that. But I never applied to Uzbek Oman, Uzbek Abu Dhabi, but we're working with them very closely now. They're similar sister companies, we call them. But yeah, maybe I would pass if I applied, but I never applied. I was just referenced by my friend to this AUIC, and that I got the interview. I liked them, the team, the management, and they offered me. So I'm now there. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I hope I answered to your question. Okay, hello everyone, Mr. Saidakhror. Here is my question now. I study in Presidential University in Uzbekistan, majoring economics, data and science in. So if more I want to break into IB, you have said about the certification internship, but can you give me examples from where I can start? Like internship in Uzbekistan, I have researched and tried, but for most of the companies, you just can't apply. Need to have some kind of connections from inside. As I said, Uzbekistan is very special for connections to really land an internship, particularly in Uzbekistan. There are big four branches, and I had conversation from someone who got the internship, and he said the things that I have said. Okay, yes, any internship is good. Of course, it should be related to your area. For example, finance, you should. But if you cannot, if you if you cannot find in Uzbekistan, you can actually find in the foreign in the abroad all the internship, because sometimes they put the internship to everyone. And as I said, in Japan, to Sokjen, people are coming from different part of the world. Anyone could apply and get the internship. So if you're interested in some country, in some company, just follow them and see whether they're offering any internship. But as I said, it doesn't mean the internship only should be the banking big four, the big names. You can go any company that has a finance department. Like, for example, the big companies in Uzbekistan. They're not finance, but they have the finance unit, right? So you can get the experience because they still work with finance, accounting, numbers, cash flows. So you understand all the balance sheet, P&L, so you can get those experiences. So don't just limit your searching area only in the big financial company names. Find anything if you cannot. Of course, this will be number one, tier one, but if you cannot, just go to the company finance departments. That's I will recommend. Okay, next. Can you talk about freelance jobs to someone with ACA papers, accounting experience? Freelance. I never did freelance, so I cannot much talk about this, but I think you can just use those freelance websites to find out whether there is any demand for your kind of skills and knowledge. But if you just have the ACCA and never had experience, I believe it will be very difficult to find any freelance job, because freelance job is the one they're looking for the professionals who has already good experience, good results, and you can show them what you can do. So without experience, I think it will be very difficult. This is my opinion. I never did. Maybe you can find, but if it's like simple jobs, but usually for freelance, they are, if the company cannot find in-house the profession, that's why they try to outsource, and they're looking for the professional. That's why I'm thinking that just with the ACCA papers, it will be maybe difficult. But if you have experience and you can show, and yeah, why not? But I don't know how will be the competition over there. So good luck. Hopefully, I could answer. And the next, also, what do you suggest about the students who are studying at non-targeted schools, like a roadmap to break into IB or any other financial companies? Okay, if you're not in the finance majoring university, like you're doing some math, engineering, I don't know, public studies or any other things, then if you still are in IB, then get those certifications. Because through these certifications, you can show that you worked on yourself, you grasp those theoretical knowledge of finance, and that's how you want to go to IB. And that will be good storytelling, because in the interview, they like the storytelling, because you say, okay, I got it, I didn't know, I didn't do self analysis, for example, but in the mid of my grad or undergrad school, I understood that finance is my target and this is my passion, and that's why I decided to change my kind of study, and that's why I chose this certification like ACCA, CFA, whatever finance related certification, and that's how I ended up getting it. I got this theory, I liked it, and I really want to work, and that's how I want to apply. And that will be good answer. So that's why get the certifications. Don't do the MBA without experience. As I said, I don't recommend. Certification is okay. What is FinEcon? Sorry, what is this? I think, Safina, I answered to all the questions,
Yes,
unless
yes.
anyone has.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Saidakhror, for taking your time, for sharing your story and such valuable insights with us today. And we
Thank
hope
you.
to invite you to our offline podcasts and events too in the future if we get to that level, if God allows.
Yes, thank you very much, Safina, again, everyone, for your time. It was very great. My last thing, which is good, maybe news for the people who are looking for the finance career, we're actually hiring in our company in AUIC. So we're hiring for the analysts, senior analysts, and associates. Please, if you're interested, please send your CV to the office at auic.us. You can see in the LinkedIn. Maybe I can put into chat also. Yes, so it's a good opportunity the people who are looking for the finance career in the private equity. So you will learn about analyzing the projects from financial part, doing a lot of valuations, understanding the business, doing a lot of analysis, checks, and working with me on the risk side. So it will be great opportunity. And of course, there are a lot of requirements. Please read on the LinkedIn or on the website, and let me know if you have any questions. So all the best of luck, everyone. Hope I could answer to your questions. And again and again and again, do your self-analysis. Understand that finance is your strong point, and then try to apply to those kind of job and build your career. That's my last point for this webinar. Thank you very much again, and hope to meet you in person, maybe in the near future, some of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And guys, I will share the position announcement from the LinkedIn here on the channel as well, so you guys can check it out. And of course, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. We hope you learned something useful and got motivated to take the next step in your career. That's it for today. Until next time, stay curious. Have a great evening, everyone.